play yet, but we'll get a better idea of him at the weekend. I think the Nottingham game's a Challenge Cup game though, so let's discount that one. We'll see how he does on Sunday.
And Graham, your thoughts on Mr. Gutfeld?
Well, pretty much what you guys have been saying. I mean, again, on paper, certainly has the potential to be part of what we're missing. But again, Czech 2 standards. Okay, he's played in Slovakia for a short period of time. I think it's fair to say that certainly in terms of the Czech 2 aspect would be, if when you're assembling your roster at the end of the previous season, you'd probably think that we'd be aiming for a slightly higher standard than that. I know a little bit about the Czech side of things, but Czech 2 level I don't think is that great. I would say it's probably thereabouts or maybe below the DEL2 level. But anyway, the fact is you've got to give the guy a chance. And, we've all done it. I know I've done it. I've had an opinion on somebody without really knowing what it was. I can remember when we signed Hammond last year. Looked at his resume and I wasn't that impressed, and on straight away it was clear that he was something. In terms of the Edinburgh game with the new guy, I was struggling to remember whether or not he was playing with us or not. Now, when it comes to D-man, that's actually a good thing.
Yeah,
if you don't notice him, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
if you're not spotting him, then that's usually the good sign of D-man. It took about 3 months for people to start talking about Tim Wedderburn, and look how his reputation turned out. So I'm not suggesting this is Tim Wedderburn's replacement, but the fact of the matter is he could still be anything. We don't know in terms of the game against Edinburgh. But yeah, with respect to the fact that he hasn't played at all this season, I can only go back to what I've said already before. It just helps to underline the fact that in terms of how we source players for our roster, it needs to change. Wish the guy all the best, but this is just a symptom of what's been wrong, frankly, since the end of last season in terms of assembling our roster.
As Dave said, going through to Edinburgh, I think they've got 6 imports, either injured or left. We again had the same problems, although we have got that, our new import D in. It would have been unthinkable really to lose to Edinburgh, a team who have amassed 2 whole points, I think, in the Elite League this year. Even given the Edinburgh's fragile state, Stephen, I was not that confident, I have to say.
Well, I was saying it in our group chat the other day. I think before that we'd lost 4 in a row. So people, I didn't see the game. You were talking about the performance wasn't great and everything, but as I said, 2 points was the most important thing, just to try and get out of that rut, because God knows where we'd be if we'd lost that as well. 5 losses in a row, not looking like turning the corner anytime soon. It just not really worth thinking about. But we got the win. The most important thing, the good performances can come later on. Just pick up points just now and try and improve as we go. That's what I'm hoping for from the team just now.
The big thing for me in that game was, Brooksy's been doing it all year. 22 points in 19 games. But the big thing for me was not only did Brooksy get 3 points that night, but Petone and Schofield, that line seems to be starting to gel. That can only be a good thing, Graham, if they can keep it going forward and start doing it against the better teams. No,
absolutely. I noted that line in the game against Sheffield. I just sensed that was really starting to tick a bit, which is nice. And let's be honest, looking at the quality of the players that are in that line, you would hope that that's where you're going to take your lead from. So yeah, it's like I said earlier, you're looking for some sign of, not necessarily recovery, but some sign of good news that things are improving. And yes, if we can build on the productivity of that line. Petone, it's a strange one. I'm not convinced, but the points speak for themselves. The guy's got class all over his CV. I do like him as a player. I think he's not a flashy player. He's clearly one of these ones that just gets on with his job. And if he's contributing in terms of assists on top of the odd goal, then great. So I'm not fully convinced yet, but I think he's all right. Schofield alike. Brooksy speaks for itself. So that line should be happening, and if we can use that as a basis to build on in an offensive sense, then great.
Well, the game. Sorry, Stephen, you go.
I will say about Petone, he did come in a bit later than everyone else. I don't know if he's still adjusting or what, but hopefully, I've seen a few people saying he's not what they expected, but I'm hoping they can still come from them. And we should point out as well, because we've been giving them a hard time all season, I think Burt got 2 points against Edinburgh.
He did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
So maybe this will be a wee turnaround for him as well, hopefully, because he's been diabolical at times. But
I don't think we've had a problem with Burt going forward, though. That's not been the issue with Burt. Burt's issue has been his turnovers and his D. But just going back to the Brooks, the last 7 games, if we just take the last 7 games, Petoni's got 7 points, Brooksy's got 8 points, and Schofield's got 10. Now, obviously, Brooksy's been doing it all year, but that's a major... Brooksy at the moment is the only guy that's averaging more than a point a game, but if you look at the last 7 games, you've obviously got Petoni and Schofield starting to come into a bit of scoring form, and these are the guys that we thought at the start of the season would be doing it. So that is maybe a wee chink of light to think we might be able to start playing well, and these guys might start scoring, and then if they do, we just need to start worrying of getting that secondary scoring in. But certainly, it's not all doom and gloom if these guys do start to perform. As you said, Graham, Blights of Petoni missed the first 4 games. I think it was the first 4 games of the season. 2 against Manchester, Milton Keynes away and Coventry away. Came into when we were at our away stretch, Nottingham, Edinburgh, Cardiff, Guildford. Managed a couple of points, but it wasn't an ideal start. No real kind of pre-season. And it's a thing that we've kind of battered on about, saying, it's all very well to wait. It goes back to the late recruitment of the coach, blah, 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 blah. But maybe that's them now starting to settle and starting to maybe get somewhere, get a bit of gelling, get a bit of understanding, and get some points on the board. So, it's all looking good in the last 7 games as far as those 3 are concerned. And as you said, Stephen, Burt's settled down a bit. By all accounts, when people I spoke to said they had decent games against Sheffield, Belfast, and Edinburgh. I don't think AMD had a good game against Sheffield down there, so we can just discount that one. But a lot of people have seen an improvement in him. Obviously, I only watched the game in the webcast on Sunday, didn't see any of last weekend's games, so hopefully that is a sign, and hopefully with Wall coming in, we can maybe shore up the defence a wee bit. I think, you're right, Graham, we're talking about upcoming games, Nottingham and Guildford. The Nottingham game, Challenge Cup, we technically can still get through mathematically, very, very unlikely. And Guildford, that's going to be a big test. Guildford are way above us in the league, and we've got to start. I mean, we've got 5 wins in the league, and 3 of them are against Edinburgh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not good, is it?
It's not good. And Guildford will be a big test for us, as we know. I mean, as far as the Challenge Cup game's concerned, let's just use it as a learning experience. I mean, again, I hear what you say about players settling in, but this is November.
Well, I know, I'm not saying it should be like this. I'm saying that's the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, I mean, I don't know. I've never played hockey. I don't know how long it takes for some players to settle in. It seems to me, looking around, that some players are settling in very quickly in some teams, and for some reason it seems to be a bit of a laborious process for us. I don't know the full background to that. But yeah, the Guildford one will be a strong test, and maybe that will probably give us the best indication right now of exactly where we are and whether there has been any improvement.
If we can beat Guildford on Sunday night, I will be a bit more optimistic. Stephen, would you be?
I hope to do, because I'll be going to this one. So
sure.
No, definitely this time, because she's asking why I'm not going and why I'm wasting money on it if I'm not going. But I'm hoping for a win, and even if we don't win, just a sign that something's clicking somewhere. If we lose a hard-fought game by the odd goal, I'm not going to be too downhearted about it, as long as there's a bit of fight. But if we're going to be leaking goals again and getting humped, then I'm going to be a bit miffed. And if it is back to that, I really don't know where the team goes. It goes from there.
obviously one of the major things that happened in the league that we never got to talk about last week, which may be a good thing because the dust is kind of settled and we've got a full overview of the whole situation now, as the Colton Fretter, Dops, Spirus, Galacos, Belfast Giants, Sheffield Steelers thing. Obviously, Dops initially ruled on it, and Colton Fretter got 1 game, and Spyro Galacus got 3 games. Do you know, see, as soon as that 1 game came out, I just thought, this game is a bogey. You know, there's just no way that anybody can justify that attack on the ice being a 1. I mean, we talked about it before it all came out, and we were saying 5 minimum, 10 maximum. You can, or at least 10 could be, you know, it's not unreasonable. And he got 1 game. And what really, really worries me is how many people between that decision getting made by whoever was making that decision, if it was Simon Kirkham on his own, or if you're led to believe there were other ex-referees involved, like Maury Hansen and stuff, but whoever made that decision, how many people who are officials of the Elite League did that go through until it got to the press release, the video getting made, that nobody actually thought to say, hold on a minute, 1 game for that? Are you really sure? Do you know what I mean? That's what worries me. There is nobody questioning that and thinking, I mean, I don't know. Graham, help me out here.
Well, first of all, I need to correct you. I think everybody's questioning that, to be quite honest with you. The whole thing was a farce. I mean, there's no point going through the whole thing because obviously everybody else has talked about it to death, and as you rightly say, the dust is settled now. But I think, in a nutshell, it's the fact that, for start, there was the attempt by some to try and justify the action on the basis of what had gone before. Never. Now, you know, Galactus has been putting himself about and, you know, has been, you know, sailing very close to the wind in terms of some of his behaviour, shall we say. Okay, but you have to take incidents on their individual merits, if you like. And taking this situation, this incident on its individual merits, yeah, I mean, it was close to just out-and-out thuggery, basically. And, I mean, somebody had sent me a link to a situation that happened in the NHL, which was...
people sending you stuff now.
I'm not going to say who sent it to me, but it was an NHL clip, and it was similar, not identical, but similar, and it ended the guy's career after he was face planted onto the ice.
Is it Todd Pertuzzi? Yeah.
No, it wasn't that one.
Was it not Pertuzzi? No?
Oh, sorry, it was Pertuzzi. Yeah, beg your pardon. Sorry, it was the Pertuzzi one. Yeah, but you know that ended the guy's career after he was face planted on the ice. So, and this wasn't that dissimilar. So it shows you the potential ramifications. But again, we come back to the basic thing. DOPS, Department of Player Safety. There was no element of this at all that had the player safety first and foremost in its decision making. And we can come up with any conspiracy theory that we want, and I think we've run out of conspiracy theories already on this one.
Well, again, you're right, but it just happened to be Sheffield involved again that got off.
Yeah. I know, well... Look,
and the people wonder why there's people coming out with conspiracy theories.
Whether you subscribe to that or not, I go back to the point that you were making a couple of minutes ago. How anybody in their right mind thought that a 1-game suspension was right for that is absolutely incredible. And again, you know, let's cut to the chase. The reaction from it, from every side, from fans, from ex-players, I think maybe potentially the odd player, people around the sport. Yes, okay, it made it over to North America as well. I don't think there's anybody, I don't, other than anybody with a Steelers connection.
There's a couple of Sheffield fans defended it. There was,
okay.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't see anybody...
Just embarrass themselves, to be honest.
Okay. Well, whatever their motivation, some of them, and I would suggest one of them wasn't even a fan. But the point is, you know, the justification for that, there was no justification. There couldn't be. And the sheer tidal wave of reaction that came in, it was only going to go one way, and the league had a decision to make. Does it take action, or does it try to ignore it? Unfortunately, the reaction to this was so big that they couldn't ignore it.
But Stephen, are the people that are running this game for us so far out of touch with reality that they can... That's my whole point. How many people seen that? Oh, one game, one guy that's writing the article, the guy that's doing the video, the guy that's, you know, narrating the video, you know, the teams, like all the GMs that have seen it, the Sheffield guys, Paul Thompson must have went, 1 game, you're kidding me on. They must have, somebody somewhere not have the toy dolls to come and say, hold on a minute here, this gets out in the public, we're going to be a laughing stock again. Do you know what I mean? That's what worries me.
Well, obviously they don't care about it, or they wouldn't have put it out. It's just, I couldn't believe it. I think I was closest